Howdy, folks. Here we are again, Rich and our esteemed guest, Arizona Senator Mark Finchem.
Another great Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Welcome on the show, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
There's a lot
if I
going
wasn't
on.
Here, I'd be outside in Prescott in that beautiful blue sky.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the news. I know there's been a lot in politics, and starting with getting the budget taken care of and having the veto queen up there. Everything you guys try gets vetoed. And one of the things that I've got some DPS friends that are like, they don't know what they're going to do. A bunch of them are actually leaving. They're going to other agencies in other states because they can't get promoted. They can't get transferred. There's no money for overtime. There's no money to fix cars. And maybe you can touch on that for a little bit, and then we'll go into some other stuff.
Well, if Paulden or Seligman or I don't know, Chino Valley, if they're missing their village idiot, we have found her. She's on the 9th floor of the executive tower of the state of Arizona.
Oh, the Copper Dome building.
Yeah, Cartel Katie. So, we've put up 3 different budgets. All 3 of them are represent full IRS code conformity, which means, in layman's terms, while the Democrats want to vilify the big, beautiful bill, H.R. 1,
right,
it actually shrank government and reined in the IRS and put on average, now just consider average, everything from $20,000 a year up to $1 million a year. Okay, so average,
right,
about $3,400 to $3,500 more back in the taxpayers' pockets,
right,
in 2025 than would have been. So essentially, that manifests itself as an increased income tax return because they had to pay less in taxes. Well, it seems the village idiot, who is calling herself governor, decided that she did not want to have full IRS conformity, and she wanted to take away what the federal government had put back in the pockets of the taxpayers.
right.
Well, you've got guys like me who are like, no, I'm not going to be that guy. In fact, you knew this was coming. You should have considered this. By the way, your own Department of Revenue, think about this for a second. The governor appoints the director of the Department of Administration and the Department of Revenue for the state of Arizona.
Right.
January 1st, they put out tax forms for Arizona state income tax for 2025 based on full conformity, because that's what the legislature has always done.
Right.
Or been very, very close to full conformity with IRS code. Instead, she decides that, oh no, we're not going to do that.
Well,
so by April 15th, we had put 2 different budgets on her desk that represented not only full IRS conformity with Arizona statute or Arizona tax code, but
right,
also had funded most of what she had claimed she wanted to do in her state of the state address, which for all the world sounded like she was talking Republican talking points when she gave it. Yet she vetoed both of them. So
yeah,
what does that mean to Joe Average? What does that mean to you guys? What does that mean to me? Well, if she vetoes those 2 bills plus the one that we put up most recently, and we don't have full conformity, that means everybody's going to have to file their taxes again.
well,
To the tune
Again?
of, on average, $225 to the tax preparation guy, because you have to
Right.
do it again,
right,
and whatever in tax. So that's why I say Cartel Katie is nothing short of an imbecile. She
Yeah.
is indeed an idiot. And the people around her, I have no idea what they're thinking. but we are roughly now 2 months away from government shutdown in the state of Arizona because they have failed miserably in managing this state. To your point about DPS officers,
Right.
we have tried everything to give those guys a raise, to give them job security, to improve benefits. Governor doesn't want none of it. I don't think she likes law enforcement, quite frankly. So,
Yeah. And the other one up there, Chris Mays, she kind of does the same thing. She came out with that thing talking about ICE and kind of slamming law enforcement, which a
yeah.
lot of the police associations in the state,
Didn't like.
yeah, they were upset. They can't believe it.
I like
It's
that.
a little backwards. I can't, not
Said,
my,
not my circus, not my monkeys, but I definitely know all the clowns.
yeah.
You've run into a few, I'm sure, up there.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, yeah.
So Chris Mays, I think, is literally insane. She has done nothing for illegal things in the state of Arizona, crimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
virtually nothing.
Yeah.
Instead, she has Trump derangement syndrome and anything and everything that has to do with the federal government trying to get a handle on, I don't know, murders by illegal aliens, traffic deaths by illegal aliens, human trafficking by illegal aliens. You name the full palette of criminality. These people who are here illegally, they don't give a flying monkey about following our laws.
Yeah.
Why? Because Otto Penn and his predecessor, Barry Soto, both gave them an entire open door path.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
figure once I'm here and I set down 10 stakes, I'm not going to have to leave. Well, got news for you, fellas. They're already leaving. And it's President Trump predicted this, and we knew what he was talking about. Self-deportation. Once
Right.
you shut off the spigot for benefits that the
Right.
American taxpayers are paying, and they find out, oh, wait a minute, I'm not going to get all the free food and free this and free that and free the other thing.
Free
They
cell
pack up
phones.
happy ass and move back across the border.
Yeah.
So the Trump administration's Monroe Doctrine is working, and it's quite frankly working famously. It's driving the Democrats nuts. And the city of London, if you follow international politics, is disintegrating. OPEC basically neutered. NATO has fallen apart because the United States finally said, you know what, we're not going to pay to. We've been paying for your largesse. The reason they have national health care over there is because we're paying their defense budget. President
Right.
Trump came in and said, no, it's not going to happen. We're done.
Yeah.
So now you've got all of these organizations that are across the pond falling apart. Yet what do we have? Well, we got Maduro. So we're going to be able to prosecute a whole raft of election tampering cases. We've
Yeah.
got Venezuelan oil, which coming our way. And quite frankly, I'm pulling for Cuba to be the 51st state.
Yeah. That would work.
Could happen.
They actually were talking about that many years ago. And in some of the old mob movies, you saw East Coast mob guys setting up casinos down in Cuba, and it used to be a thriving place.
It was.
Under that regime,
Yeah.
they're just disintegrated.
Well, you've
Well,
got
if they fluff it up, I think maybe we should set up some all-inclusive vacation places over there.
Oh yeah.
I would urge whoever wants to become the 51st state of the United States, I would urge them to do a couple of things that would make them a tourist mecca. Number one, get car parts to repair all of the vintage automobiles that are in Cuba.
Gosh.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of money.
You've got part of the problem. Yeah, so there is a problem with salt water and corrosion and all that, but I got to believe that they have addressed that. Then the other thing is go in and refurbish the existing buildings that are there,
Beautiful architecture.
retrofit them with all kinds of, modern, like plumbing, air conditioning, electricity, those kinds of things that
Yeah.
the Castro regime has basically held people in poverty. So yeah, you've got that, and then you've got Puerto Rico, probably number 52. Greenland, probably going to be a territory. I'm pulling for Saskatchewan, Manitoba, kind of like Ontario. British
Yeah.
Columbia, they'd have to change their name, and I don't think they'd like that. Northwest Territories, we could probably figure out how to cobble them together with Alaska.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Monroe Doctrine, I would call it the Donroe Doctrine, is working famously, and it's
Like it.
focused on the Western Hemisphere. And
Yeah.
that is why you see international money coming into the United States funding all of these anti-ICE. This isn't organic.
No.
And for the viewing public that has no idea what law enforcement does,
Majority of it.
that thinks, blue man bad, well, I got news for you, folks. You're living in a psyop world because none of this stuff is real. All of this is designed to promote. Now you can't see it because you're reversed. 5th generation warfare. It's something that General Flynn and my good friend, now deceased, Boone Cutler, really were trying to get as many people spun up on what this is. It's AstroTurf. They're basically paying for anarchists to come into this country
Great problem.
and assault federal officers. I think they have shown remarkable restraint in spite of the narrative that the left and the media keeps pushing out there that they're murderers and they're thugs. Well, first of all, if you're getting thumped on, you probably shouldn't be there in the first place.
Yeah.
Now, that is not what is called peaceful assembly, which you are guaranteed of under the First Amendment. So don't even try and play that card. You try and run over a federal police officer like the chick in California, you're going to get killed.
Yeah.
And then her girlfriend comes out and says, well, I egged her on. And I think they still call that an excited utterance in court.
Yeah. And
being charged with accessory to attempted murder, I'll never understand that one.
yeah. Well,
But all of this is being funded by external money. And now would be a really good time to tell you I didn't really retire from law enforcement. It's kind of a rumor. In 2018, I started a little 501c3 called the Election Fairness Institute. And we have been researching since probably 2019, leading into 2020. Yeah, I'm the guy who chaired the very first hearing on election tampering in Maricopa County, November 30th of 2020. As Steve Bannon would say, you're the one that started the grass fire into a nationwide conflagration. Way to go. But where we're at now, we continue to turn over information to the Department of Justice. We have uncovered, right now it pencils out at about $6.5 trillion in international money laundering that has come in by way of our neighbors to the north, our neighbors to the south, electronic banking from the west. That would be the Asian basin. So we are awash with money that is coming in from outside influences that want to destabilize the American political system. And the Election Fairness Institute, if people want to check us out, it's goefi.org. Like I say, we're a 501c3. We operate on a very limited budget. In fact, things are kind of thin these days because we're so involved in so many things. Like feeding information to DOJ about election tampering, about money laundering, about voter roll corruption. And we're in multiple states doing the research and turning that information over. So I'm not really retired. I'm busy as a senator and as the director of the EFI, but it's a good time to be alive because I think that there's a lot that is being uncovered that has been a fraud ever since the assassination of JFK and before.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
I
yeah.
may, there's a few people, very few like yourself out there that are trying to do the right thing and bring the right information to the forefront. We have so many uneducated people in the society that flap their gums and really don't realize and haven't paid attention where America is going instead of where it should be going. Because
Well,
so
I would push back on that a little bit, and I'll try not to wax philosophical here, but one of the I think it was the FCC commissioner came out and said something about big media. If you don't start telling the truth, we can revoke your license to operate. Now, they downplayed that, but believe you me, the executives sitting in the boardrooms of all the big names, NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, MSDNC, all of those, okay, their license to operate is at risk because they have been pumping out propaganda for the last 15 years.
Yep.
And it's anti-American propaganda.
Yep.
It is absolute fake news, and it is character assassination on just a vile level. And,
Right.
Jake
Journalism's
Tapper,
gone.
that guy is. I remember him being in a commercial, something to the effect of, MAGA is evil. Don't these people have a soul? That dude sold his soul to Satan a long time ago when he started putting out anti-American crap that was nothing but a script that he was given. So don't give me this argument with Rosie O'Donnell and The View and all of those nitwits. They wouldn't know the truth if it hit them like a bus. Because
Yeah.
why? They bought into the PSYOP that is fifth generation warfare.
Yeah.
And it's being funded by our adversaries. And when I say adversaries, I am not talking about just China and North Korea, well, not cartel. I'm talking about the city of London. Most people don't know what that is. It's not the city of London in London. It's where the East India Company originated from. And I know most law enforcement guys are history guys. The slavery company.
Oh,
The
yeah.
importing
Yeah.
company. The East India Company. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that got in bed with the Bank of International Settlements. Heard about that one, right? That would be England and Nazi Germany stood that bad boy up. They were working together,
Yeah.
funding both sides of the war.
Well, it's interesting we should say that because we were just watching a thing on World War II, and Winston Churchill met with Stalin at the end of the war and divided up Europe. And they said 90% is England's control, 10%, and they split up the different countries that way. And we know it from East and West Germany growing up. And Ronald Reagan tear down that wall and look at it,
Yeah.
and
Well, and the American taxpayers funded the Marshall Plan, which basically was American taxpayers rebuilding Europe.
yeah,
Well, time out. Just a minute, why didn't the international bankers loan the money to those countries instead of having the American taxpayer fund it?
yeah,
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming out that is making it very uncomfortable for the radical left, particularly for those individuals who are funding the attacks on our brothers and sisters in blue and brown and green.
right.
And there is, I tell you what, hell's coming with them. Mr. Trump's coming for them.
What was that? It was you tell them I'm coming and hell's
Justice
coming with
coming.
me.
Yeah.
Well, we can
coming.
only hope, being a year and a half into it, we can keep that inertia up for another 4, 8, 12 years.
Yeah, part of the president's problem is we have a Senate that, quite frankly, every damn one of them, well, almost every damn one of them should be fired. And I'm glad that John Thune is on the ropes. I'm glad that we finally got rid of John Cornyn. All of these guys, Donald Trump's in office for 4 years before and a year and a few months now, and they say he's the problem.
Yeah.
These POSs have been collectively have been in office for over 600 years.
Yep.
And they're calling Donald Trump the problem. No,
Yeah.
The reason Donald Trump's a problem is he's screwing with their cash flow.
Yep.
Yeah. And
I've never seen a man so loyal to law enforcement and our military brothers and sisters as I have seen Donald Trump.
Loyal to the
Never
citizens.
seen anybody like it.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's crazy because I can tell you, I was working when Obama was president and all that fiasco happened going after Joe Arpaio and the Melendres thing, which they're still under that court case.
Still up our tail.
So you know why he was going after Joe, right?
Was it the birth certificate stuff?
Because he was right.
Yeah.
Mike Zullo got the goods on him, and he was right. Now, compounding that, they've discovered that the Social Security number that Barry's been using ain't his.
Ah,
Wow.
From a guy, it's from a guy I think in Connecticut who passed away in Hawaii.
interesting.
Guess whose grandmother worked in the Bureau of Vital Statistics in Hawaii?
I give up.
Barry's grandma.
Well, there was also
Just a minute. The guy never drew Social Security benefits. So he was totally off the grid and nobody would know that Social Security number wasn't Barry Soto's.
wow. It's kind of funny because there was another little deal going around where Barry, his mother, there were rumors of her working for the CIA or something like that. Have you heard those?
Yeah, it's all PSYOP stuff. What they're trying to do is create enough confusion in the space. Guys like
Leave it
us,
alone.
we'd like to deal with fact.
Right.
While the fiction is popping around us like popcorn, just show me the facts. Show me the thing I can put a pin in. And that's one of the reasons why they went after Sheriff Joe with such a vengeance. So now, $300 and some million later, where the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has been under monitoring, the monitor seems to keep finding a reason to keep it going.
Yeah.
Keep money
You're
in that
taking
pocket.
too much time on traffic stops. You must be harassing people. And of course, the Hispanic deputies are explaining to the court, well, actually, they don't speak English, so I have to, and they don't even speak good Spanish.
Right.
Okay. They speak Spanglish or whatever they call it. Something akin to pidgin.
Right.
We're trying to explain to them what a traffic citation means, what they have to do. And it takes time because you dumbasses are telling us we have to do it this way.
Yeah.
So Murray Snow, quite frankly, should be thrown off of this case and it should be shut down. Now, I do know that the Department of Justice petitioned the court and kind of caught the ACLU off guard, said, we're ready to be done with monitoring. We're asking the court to vacate this. And of course, the judge is like, well, wait a minute. I got to give people 30 days to respond to this. This is a surprise. After how many years and how many sheriffs, this should be a surprise? You kept Maricopa County under monitoring under a Democrat sheriff. So don't try and sell me this crap about how they need to be under monitoring because they're picking on little brown people. No, that's not it at all. The court is lining its pockets of lawyers and professionals with taxpayer money in this endless war on
Systemic racism, right?
yeah, it's a war on race.
Yeah.
But that's the strange thing because now you have actually a proportionate number of deputies within Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. And I think Jerry Sheridan's done a great job, the new sheriff.
Right.
Proportionate to population.
Right.
So what exactly is your beef? Okay.
Yeah.
People who need to be stopped and instructed on proper driving, it's going to take time, especially if they don't speak English.
Yeah.
And they're
Oh,
here
yeah.
illegally.
And,
So the Democrats have created this mess, and now they want to have the taxpayers pay because the mess they created is virtually impossible to police.
Well,
Yeah,
to, the
well,
best
Can't
of
make
my,
this
re-
stuff up.
to the best of my recollection dealing with the sheriff's office is in the past 10 plus years, they've had 2 sustained racism complaints. One was from the individual that created this whole mess with the Melendrez issue. The deputy had made that traffic stop, and then there was one other. Other than that, there's been no sustained cases of racism, bias, no systemic problems. But they're still,
And
like
think
you said,
about-
there.
And think about the daily fur cards that they have. I can't,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, field interrogation reports for those that don't know. Think
yeah.
of the number of people that they come in contact with on a daily basis. That number is staggering when you compare what you had 2 sustained founded cases of racism. Okay.
In 10 plus years and hundreds of millions of dollars later.
330 million.
Yeah.
Close to exact. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was I saw it on X. There's a Save MCSO page on X or group, and they shared a video of a town hall where Warsham, the guy that runs it, is at a town hall
Warshaw.
talking about the money. And somebody in the audience asked, well, where's the money going? And he goes,
Into
that's
his
not for
pocket.
public. Pardon?
Into his pocket. His
Well, he
law
said
firm.
that's not for public consumption.
Yeah.
And you hear the whole crowd, which is citizens, just booing him. And
The guy lucky
apparently,
got out of there alive.
well,
Yeah, really.
apparently, Judge Snow sealed the funding source or where the money's going. He sealed it so nobody could ever know what they're doing with it. And then there was things where Warshaw was staying up at that fancy hotel George Bush used to always stay in up on Camelback. He was having
Biltmore.
steak
Royal
dinners,
Palms.
something like that. It's like,
And this kind of speaks to one of the big problems we have in America. There is absolutely no meaningful oversight of the judiciary.
Yep.
None.
no,
They can do anything they damn well please. I mean, I spent an entire year last year taking 40 hours of testimony and trying to put it together into a package of bills for family court order reform.
right.
It's a small thing, but it's bankrupting thousands of families, not just here in Arizona, all across the United States. I had 17 different states contact me and say, hey, we got the same problem. And it comes back to 2 issues. Number one, you don't have laws in place that judges are able to follow. They just, and I'll give you an example in a second. The second issue is when you do have court rules, the judges don't follow them. They just do what they damn well please.
Yeah, we've seen it
So
already
when you
in
get
decisions.
You get a guy like me who comes along and says, fine, we have the power of the purse and we're going to cut your budget by 30%. Well, you can't do that. I beg your pardon. You might want to take a look at the Constitution because, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
So
legislature.
we've been able to move the needle a little bit on that, but here's an example. Okay, so you get, there's a reason that people get a divorce. They
Right.
don't want to live with each other and they don't like each other. Now,
Yeah.
it's a bonus if they can get along and they've got kids, but in about 2 to 5% of the cases, they're at each other's throats. And usually one of the people has more assets than the other. What happens? They decide to engage in lawfare. For those who are not officers or retired officers, that would be legal warfare, financial warfare against the opposing party. They try and drain them financially to this is a megalomaniac. This is somebody who's a sociopath. They want to destroy the opposing party, who happens to be one of the parents of the kids.
Right.
So
Ultimately,
we ran a bill, and my hat's off to Judge Peter Swan. If I don't know, he's probably not going to hear this, but I want to really compliment Judge Swan. He's retired now. But what we wanted to do is set a limit on the amount of money that the court could award and not go over, kind of like a sentencing requirement. Okay. You cannot award any more than $9,000 for psychologists and $9,000 for lawyer fees. After that, the person who's causing the problem, you're going to have to pay for it yourself.
Yeah.
Well, Judge Snow took a look at it, and he's so funny. He said, I kind of know what you're trying to do, but let's try this instead. The court can establish a reserve based upon the corpus of the family estate. Let's say it's $500,000, which, I mean, for an average family looking at income over a 10-year period, okay, that's probably a little light, but it gives you an idea of scope. He said, all right, the court's going to set a reserve of $50,000. Both litigants get to draw on it as they need.
That's what the judge said?
So that's what Judge Swan said. He says, think about it for a second. The person who keeps needling the other person and keeps going back to court with motion after motion after motion, he's going to come to realize he's spending his own money.
Yeah.
And he ain't getting nowhere with it.
Yeah, and then if both people,
that was one of the bills that I ran. Unfortunately, the House killed it before it could be vetoed by the veto queen. So go Andy Biggs. We need a new governor.
Yeah.
So Curly mentioned a few minutes ago, save the MCSO. I was thinking, as he said that, let's save Arizona. Your journey is to the path of Secretary of State you'd like to get to. Am I correct? And
well, I took a swing at that, and because of an irredeemably compromised election in 2022, that pathway has probably been foreclosed. I just a statewide campaign. We project that we probably won by 5 points,
but
it's very clear that the election was manipulated. Now you're going to hear people like Cartel Katie and Adrian the Fraud Fontes
call you an election denier.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So if you go in and you look at the log files and you look at the votes, none of that stuff matches up. You look at the shenanigans that were broadcast all over the valley where they tried to, it's funny how the left is constantly screaming disenfranchisement of voters. But look at what Maricopa County did to Republican voters in Republican districts, an allegedly Republican Board of Supervisors. So there's no question in my mind that Kerry won, I won, Abe Hamaday won. I mean, Abe allegedly lost by only 200 and some votes. There were 6,000 provisional ballots that the Supreme Court refused to count. So the fix was in. I've been given the backstory. Now this is going to go into conspiracy world. But I've been given the backstory by people who probably know. They said, Mark, they were never going to let you win that election because they knew that you would do an audit of the software that counts the votes. And that would have basically torn down the entire election tampering system all across the United States. They could not have that. And short of killing you, they had to deny you access to those codes.
Well, you know what? You said short of killing you. That's actually happened here in Arizona. From when I was a little kid growing up, a news reporter, what was that guy's name? Don Bowles?
Don Bowles.
Yeah, yep. Blown up in his car downtown Phoenix.
First Avenue in Clarendon.
Yeah, and then there were suspicious car accidents. I've heard about that stuff. And we actually have some organized crime influences here in Arizona, and it's kind of funny. It's East Coast organized crime, La Costa Nostra, but now it's drug cartels right by Phoenix, right by the county hospital. There's like 3 cartels working there.
Well,
It's crazy.
Tucson was owned and operated by the Chicago mob, New York mob for decades. That's
Yeah.
where they went to. That's where we went to sell a guy, have a guy go cool off. You're a made man, but now you're going to go on vacation and disappear.
Yeah. You
Okay.
know, it's funny when my dad was a Mesa cop back in the 60s. So I'm dating myself. He told me the story years later, but he came across this New York plated Cadillac convertible at Country Club in Maine in Mesa. Made the stop, but they didn't have car radios back then. They had call boxes and shit like that. And he gets the guy. The guy had all his driver's licenses and everything, and had two blondes in the car. He found out he was staying at that motel that it's like a Western themed motel right there on Country Club in Maine. Goes back, end the day, doesn't give him a ticket or nothing. Goes home, comes back to briefing the next day, and the sergeant is showing this bulletin with that guy's picture on it that he's a homicide suspect from New York. And my dad said he waited till after the briefing and then went and talked to the sergeant. Goes, hey, I stopped that guy last night. Oh, you did? Where? Told him where. They sent a shit pile of cops over to that hotel. The guy was long gone. Long
Of
gone.
course,
Yeah.
he was probably over in Gallup, Mexico.
Oh, yeah. You know what's funny is law enforcement back then was a lot different than it is today. And even when you were working, and even me and Rich, it's changed so much with that
Yeah.
woke ideology, the different sets of rules, the body cameras, all the new gadgets and tools, and now AI. They there was one funny thing we were talking about last week, Rich, where some police department in Colorado, I believe, were using AI to help write their reports,
Yeah.
and
Didn't quite work well.
it changed it to, instead of the cops, they were frogs, and they don't read their reports. They just print it and turn it in, and it says that the frog arrested, kind of deal. And
Wow.
we in law enforcement, you have a lot of tools. You have a lot, but the biggest tool you have is your mind in investigating things, canvassing neighborhoods, getting statements, writing supplements, doing all those different things. And if you
Old-fashioned work.
if you count on like GPS to find a house, or you count on AI to write your report, we're going to be in a world of problems, because I know Coconino County's using AI to help solve crimes, and I don't know if it's working out too good for them.
Well,
Well, hopefully AI won't ever run our government.
yeah, AI's got its place, but
Absolutely.
I think you raised a really good point. It's got to be supervised. My first call. I can't believe this. My very first call with my FTO, we cleared briefing at 7:00 in the night, and on our way out the driveway of the station, we get a call for a CSC in progress, a rape in progress.
Yeah.
We get there. We took the guy into custody. Yeah, we didn't shoot him. A lot of people wonder why we didn't, but we didn't. Did our job.
Yeah.
I hand wrote a 41-page report.
Took a bit.
Oh yeah. And then your sergeant looks at it and says, "Oh, you need to change this."
No, actually, I was very fortunate because it's another funny story. Cicely Cagle, Detective Cagle, was my Sunday school teacher. And I got a commendation for the report.
Oh,
And she
cool.
said, we now use this report as an example of how to write a CSC report. The level of detail. And I mean, it took me 12 hours to write that darn thing. And when you're handwriting and you get something wrong,
Been there, done that.
you
Yeah.
don't get to use whiteout. You got to start from scratch.
Well, when I did it,
Yeah.
I had to use whiteout, and by the
Oh,
time
they
I
wouldn't
got
have
it, yeah, we
they
we
wouldn't
used
allow it.
whiteout for small little things, but
Well,
I used so much of it that one sheet of paper would weigh like a pound. And finally, I just gave up, and
yeah.
we didn't have computers yet. Rich remembers that
Oh,
time,
yeah.
and so I'd go back, tear the pre-printed report
No,
forms, keep the face sheet, the narrative part, write everything, and just go over it. And I actually had pretty good printing, so the whole thing was printed. And I finally got to that skill level of not getting reports kicked back because I didn't want to rewrite them and do all that, which I think cops today don't get that same degree of experience because they're not having to handwrite,
Yep.
hand take notes. They're using GPS to get to a house.
Yep.
Yeah, we
well,
talk.
and
Yeah,
the
it's
complexity of the job has gotten. I don't think I could do the job today, the way it's detailed. I mean,
Yeah.
and I've spoken with a number of our troopers and a number of municipal officers and sheriff's deputies. You have to account for every single minute of time because it's being paid for out of different pots of money.
yeah,
Okay. Oh, you do a traffic stop, you need to log that for 12 minutes. Why? Because it's coming out of this fund. You get
yeah,
a crime report, all right, you're supposed to go to Circle K and take an armed robbery case. All right. That's coming out of the city's budget. That's coming out of this pot of money. It's gotten to the point where it's utterly ridiculous. And
Oh, yeah.
we've gone stats crazy. But what is it actually? All of this information isn't knowledge.
no,
We're sacrificing knowledge for information. And
Yep.
I'm with you. I think AI has its upside. But
it does.
woe is going
And
to
it-
be the department that relies on that for everything.
Yeah, and you can't rely 100% because when I was an FTO, one of the things, and I worked out in District 3, which was West Side. I got the guy in the car. He's sitting in the driver's seat. I'm in the passenger seat, which I hated. He fired up the computer. I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, we're going to go 10-8." I go, "Well, hold on a second. Turn that off. Shut it." I said, "You're going to grab your notepad." "What notepad?" I said, "Get a notepad, a steno notepad with a little clip on it." And I had to show him how to, the DR number, the date, the time, the starting mileage, ending mileage, all that different stuff where you'd use backslashes and all that. There you go. He goes, "Well, how do I find the house or where we're going for the call?" I said, "Well, it's called a map book. Do you have one?" "Oh, no." So I reached over and grabbed, and I think it's right here, the original one I had. And of course, I had to buy one with the big type in it because I was wearing glasses at that point. And so I hand him a map book, showed him the notepad. I go, "Listen to the radio. When they call your call sign, you answer it and get the call over the radio and then go and take notes, time of call, everything, detail it." And I think he got the idea of it later because I said, "What if the computer died? What if it crashed? What if," because it's a cellular based computer in the car. "What if we get into an area out by Whitman and there's no phone service, nothing? Your computer's not going to work. The only thing that'll work is that radio. So you got to get used to it."
Yeah.
And, and
Well,
I don't
thank
think they do. I don't think they do that now. I don't think they really do that. Rich would know. He's newer retired than I am.
We got redundant comms that we were talking about before the show. that
Right.
sponsored a bill for Yavapai County Sheriff's Office to outfit all of the road patrol vehicles with Starlink. And we are now 100% of those vehicles have been outfitted. Sheriff Rhodes tells me that the guys on the road are ecstatic.
Oh, yeah.
Not only do they have clarity of voice comms, they also have lightning fast data transfer. And
Yeah.
the guys have figured out, this is, you get the right technology in the right place for the right reasons, they'll figure things out.
Yep.
When they get up to Walden, Seligman, places where previously there's all kinds of dead spots, the sheriff's deputy now is the coordinator for emergency events. When you've
Right.
got inbound fire, you've got inbound ambulance, you've got need
Helicopters.
for medevac
Helicopter.
out of the hospital.
Yeah.
That guy in that cruiser for the sheriff's office, because he's the one with crystal clear comms, he's running the operation. And Sheriff Rhodes is just, he's just, we are ecstatic. We used to have to just get along with what we had, but it's saving lives. It's reducing the amount of time for response. It's taking, getting the time down for getting somebody in that golden hour to the hospital. He said it's just an amazing technology. So my hope is that when we get a new governor and we put priorities in the right place, that law enforcement across the state will have the best communications possible, because they really are, especially the sheriffs. Sheriffs are the chief law enforcement officer of the county.
Yes.
Not municipal chief. It's the sheriff.
Yeah.
Now, Democrats don't like that because sheriffs are elected, not appointed, except in Washington State, where they kind of screwed that up.
Yeah.
But when you got a sheriff's office that is outfitted, we've proven the theory of the case here in Yavapai County. And it wasn't terribly expensive either. I think the whole outfit was like $500,000, and they probably have some money left over. So they'll be able to do some more.
You did that for the folks of Arizona. What are some other things you're looking at accomplishing in your office?
State Senator, well, we're going to take another stab at family court order reform. The family courts are out of control. They're not following the law. They're not following court rules. They're not accountable to anybody. And quite frankly, the judiciary wants to try and make believe like we don't have any oversight over the judiciary, but that's just not true. We've got to have a governor who's going to sign legislation into place. And we've got to have, in my view, it's probably going to have to be a constitutional amendment to the state constitution, where you have, for example, a senior judge. Because here's what is wild. I thought, much like a principal is in charge of all the teachers at school, that the presiding judge over a circuit court is somehow responsible for the behavior of all the other judges. Not true, fellas. That presiding judge is nothing more. It's a figurehead's seniority thing. What I would like to do, and we're going to have to do some real deep dive study on this, I would like to hold the presiding judge of the court responsible for observing all of the judges in that court to make sure that A, they followed the rules, B, they applied the law, and C, they didn't show bias. Because every one of us that's going into a courtroom expects the judge to be a neutral arbiter of fact and testimony.
Yep.
That ain't happening. Okay. So yeah, I'm picking on the courts because right now, nobody in America has got faith in the court system. That is not a good place for a civil society to be.
No.
So we've got that. We also have one of the projects that we've got that's kind of stalled. Well, I don't want to say stalled. It's not fully funded yet. Let's put it that way. Is a real-time crime analysis center. You've got the ACTIC, which is the counterterrorism center down in Phoenix. That takes primarily all the information that's coming in from Maricopa County. Okay. You've got a similar southern border unit that they're standing up down in Cochise County to help mitigate everything coming across the border. We have nothing north of New River.
Wow.
Nothing. Okay. So one of the things that I approached Sheriff Rhodes about was, what if we were to stand up a real-time crime analysis center so that we could ingest intelligence and within 60 minutes turn it around for actionable information for the guys on the road?
Yeah, I agree.
His response was, you really are crazy, aren't you?
Yeah, you know it's funny.
I said, no, I dream big. And I think that we probably can pull the resources together. So for security reasons, I'm not at liberty to go deep into what is going on. But I think that we are going to have a real-time crime analysis center for the northern half of the state within the next year and a half, 2 years.
Like a Northern Actic.
The Northern Actic.
Well,
But its focus is going to be very different. Its focus is going to be very different. It's going to be on primarily human and drug trafficking, not the terrorism potential, not all the inner city stuff, because it's a very different kind of policing. It's expressways and it's rural expressways as opposed to metropolitan expressways. Two completely different animals, and guys on the street know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, years ago when I was still working and I was a detective down at MCSO, we'd be looking at a case like I worked organized retail theft at one point, and I'd get somebody identified as a suspect for like Queen Creek when I worked down there when we had that, and I'd get them identified, but then I'd have to do separate searches because bad guys don't know boundaries. They don't know, they don't give a rat's ass about
where they steal from.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to them. And then I discovered that Phoenix has their system PACE, which is separate from the state system, and the jails, which I kind of said, why isn't the sheriff's office, who takes all the bad guys from all over Maricopa County and puts them in one location, why isn't that the focal point for information like Yavapai County should be for up here, or Navajo County or wherever? Because, bad guys don't care about city boundaries, they just go do it. And what I discovered on one case was they did organized retail theft from Target, Walmart, but it wasn't just Queen Creek. It was Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa,
right,
Avondale,
Crew.
And how are you going to get all those cases? So I would put all the cases together, bundle them up, get them from the other agencies, and tell them I'm going to submit charges on them, and we go do it.
Rope them.
And we do a big ass book with all the charges that went to the county attorney, because the county attorney prosecutes felonies, not like the justice courts and misdemeanors and that stuff, but felonies. That's Maricopa County. Here you go. Here's a binder that's already put together for you. But we need to be able to change that communication thing. Actic, it started out good and doing that, but you don't know as a detective for Mesa PD or wherever, you don't know what you may have a contact in Actic, but their main, it's just communicating between the agencies needs to be done better. And then one of the other things that panned out is even that, and in Queen Creek, they even cross into a different county. They go down to
there in that town,
Santan Valley or Casa Grande, and then they come up and steal and do all this stuff. And it makes it really difficult to get good, solid prosecutions within a county if you got all these things out there, But I
Well,
think
I think
communications would work.
that's where I think we're on the right path with this.
Right.
My vision for it was to set Sheriff Rhodes up for success
Right.
and have a um, have a center that is able to flex not just for Yavapai County, but Coconino, Navajo, Apache, all the way over to
Right.
Mojave, because we've got two of the largest roadways in the country,
Yep.
I-17 and I-40,
40. Yeah.
Yeah.
that transit hundreds of billions of dollars of goods and people and
Illegal stuff.
Drugs. Oh yeah.
every year. Yeah. So, you look at, the ingenious ways that they're packaging some of this stuff to try and traffic it. When we have an organized, some people would say, well, you're going off the reservation, you're creating a surveillance state. Well, that's what police work is all about.
Yeah.
Looking,
I mean,
it's paying attention and connecting the dots. So if
yeah.
you're saying that you don't want to have law enforcement do its job, you don't want to have law enforcement following a vehicle that, wow, somebody noticed at New River, this guy's acting kind of strange, and all of a sudden you pick him up at just coming into Flagstaff, and then he gets on the expressway, doesn't make a stop. Wait a minute. Usually it's kind of outside of behavior, and you're
Yeah.
looking for patterns. You're looking for that kind of stuff. So
the behavior,
if
the
people that-
patterns, absolutely.
yeah, and if the people that, well, we don't want a surveillance state, well, then you don't really understand what police work is. You're going to misrepresent what a good cop who's paying attention and broadcast that information to his colleagues or her colleagues,
Right.
just to make DEI compliant. I some people get that weak. What we're trying to do here is protect
you.
the good citizens of Arizona and the visitors
Right.
who come here.
Yeah.
And if we can catch not only the professional bad guys, but the kidnappers, the child molesters, if we can isolate them, we've just solved a lot of crime,
Oh
because
yeah.
they're not going to be perpetrating it again tomorrow.
How do you
Well-
get stupid to understand all that?
Yeah. Well, one
That's
of
the
the
problem.
hot topics up here is flock cameras,
Yeah.
and we talked
whole
about
story.
it on a show. And
Well,
guess what?
I
They're
ran a bill
saying,
I ran a bill with Senator Payne to put some pretty serious restrictions on the use of that information.
right.
And there was a group within the legislature that killed the bill.
Right.
Well, now we have no guardrails. So congratulations. You
Yeah.
accomplished the very thing that you were trying to stop.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, having worked in law enforcement, down at the border, we have license plate readers, people going across and coming back. There's license plate readers.
Yep.
And they randomly put them up at different places at border crossings, mostly either California or going over to New Mexico. Well, it was a big hot topic up here because people were saying flock cameras invade my privacy. I go, no, they don't. How do they do that? You have a camera that's filming a road. When a crime happens, let's say your grandmother or your mom, like what's happening down in Tucson area, your mom goes missing.
Yep.
Nancy Guthrie.
Yep.
Yeah.
A great example of that. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
what
and
they're doing is they're misrepresenting the use of the cameras. Now, at the
Correct.
same time, we have not done the municipalities that and the state, all of the organizations, all the law enforcement organizations that have got camera contracts, they have
Right.
not done a very good job of isolating what can be collected, how long it can be kept, and what its use can be. And
Right.
if a vendor steps outside of that, one of the things that would have happened with my bill, that's a felony. So the
Yeah.
corporate officers would be responsible for safeguarding that information.
Yeah, and the
So-
thing about the other thing about it, we talked about it on flock cameras. Well, guess what? You're in a public area. You can be filmed. Cops
Yeah.
on traffic stops, people holding up cell phones, videotaping cops. Nothing you can do about it. It's First Amendment. You can do that stuff. You go into Walmart. Walmart's got
Video.
state-of-the-art cameras. They can. I went there on it to research a stolen credit card, and I ended up writing a search warrant because it tracked it back. They went to the point where that person was using the credit card at the register, good clean pictures, high res. Then they backtracked it by the timestamp, and it went through there, then out to the parking lot where she walked into the building. They have pictures right there that when you walk in, they snap. There's a video of it. And then followed her out to her car, got the car. I ended up within an hour writing a search warrant, going over there and getting stuff back, including the stolen credit card, which I'm all for these cameras. And nobody seems to bitch when they go to Walmart.
They go to a coffee shop. They go to Circle K. They go anywhere.
Yeah, there's cameras and a one or two flock cameras to help in that regard, I think is very important because like Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah,
Same
I think
thing.
that we need to put very severe restrictions on what the information what can be collected,
Right.
what it can be used for. And we had, that bill was iron tight.
Right.
They could not misuse the information. But hey, fellas, I got a hard stop at the top of the hour.
Oh yeah.
Looks like
We're
kind of time.
we're a little over. Well, thank you.
All right.
Thank you for coming on. And
Well, thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you, and the best and extreme success to you.
yep.
Well, I appreciate
And
that. Thank you very much.
anytime you want to come on and talk about something like this, these little hot topics, absolutely reach out.
Give us a call.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
very much, gentlemen. Bye now.
See ya.